Welcome to Wee Willie Wonderful's Knitted Bunny video tutorial number 9. And in the last tutorial you were making a second leg, so now the second leg is complete. It will naturally already be on the same knitting needle as the first leg. So this is the first leg that we made where we cut the strand off here, and this is the second one that we've just completed. Just before we start, I'm going to give you another top tip. Once you've finished your knitting for the day and you're putting it down, always just push your knitting down to the bottom before you store your needles. If you leave it at the end, it's very easy to pull your knitting out of your project bag and lose the stitches off the needle. So always push it right to the bottom. So what we're going to do now, we'll read the instructions, and we are up to row 13, and it says knit across the second leg you made, and then immediately afterwards knit across the first leg, and then we're going to tie them together. So the second leg is this one, and this is still attached to our ball of yarn. We have not cut that off. If you accidentally have, then all you need to do is start with the end and start your first stitch, leave a little tail maybe about that long, and start again using that, and then just knot the two at the back, the end that you cut and the thread from where you've rejoined it. So you can do it that way, it's not a problem. So it says to knit across the second leg, the one we've just completed. So we're just knitting in each stitch, so in, over, through, off. Always a good idea as well, count the stitches on both of your legs to make sure that you are on track before you start. Keep doing that at the end of each row just to make sure nothing has gone wrong. So we're just knitting across. So this is the second leg. So all we do is join together, and then we will continue to make the body. So you're making it all in one piece, and then it's much less sewing up at the end. So that is the second leg. So I've knitted across that. So now instead of turning my work, I'm going to slide leg number 1 to the top, and be careful you don't start using this strand. We want to be using the strand that's going to the ball that's attached to leg 2. So I'm going to go in there as if I'm just carrying on. Keep hold of that quite tightly, and we need to push them together and pull this strand quite tight because we want to be quite tight. So we're going to turn it over. We've just done one knitted stitch, and then I'm going to turn them over, and what I'm going to do is just knot the old and the new at the back. So I'm just going to do a little knot, cross them round and tie, and then do it again to make it a double knot so it doesn't come out, and tie. Now you can leave that attached, or you can cut it a bit shorter so it doesn't get in your way, because it'll just be on the inside of the bunny anyway. And then we'll turn the work back over, because this is the way we were working. So you want the knit side, this side facing you, and the purl side at the back. So we've knotted the two at the back just to make sure it's secure. And then we will continue. Oops, we just took that at the back. Make sure that's at the back so that it's on the inside. So we'll just carry on now, knitting across them. So now we've made it into one long row. So when we get to the end, instead of having what we had before, which was lost count, 24 stitches, I believe, yeah, 24. We're going to have double now because the two are together. So your stitch count at the end of this row will be 48, and that's just because we've put them all together onto one big row. So we're going to knit to the end. Right to the end, so we've got one big row, and then you can see what it looks like now. There we are. So they're joined together. It may look like it's pulling, it's not very tightly together, but as we work, when you come to do these stitches on the next row, just make sure they're quite firmly together, so we're not leaving a big gap. There we are. So the two legs are now together. So the next section we're going to be doing is the body, and then when we sew it together, that will fold around the back, and this half of the leg will fold around the back. So this, what you can see here, will be the front of the bunny, and then these two bits will fold around the back, so they'll be the back of the bunny. There are photographs obviously on the pattern. There are lots of detailed photos to make use of those. Now the next section, so we've done row 13 and we've joined the two together. So now 14 to 22 is stocking stitch 9 rows beginning and ending with a purl row. So like we did earlier on the legs, we're going to turn and work back along, and we're going to complete 9 rows. So purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl. So 9 rows in total. So when you've continue to do that, and when you've completed it, the next video will show you from row 23 onwards. I'll see you shortly.